Tonight from Bross Court in the MacArthur Center on the campus of the Masters University, it's NCAA and NAIA men's volleyball. As tonight, the Emmanuel Lions out of Franklin Springs, Georgia, are here to take on the Masters University Mustangs. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us wherever you are, however you may be joining us. We so appreciate you spending part of your Monday evening with us. This is going to be a fun match. We've really been looking forward to this one. Emmanuel, as I said, they are in the NCAA Division II coming up and spending a West Coast trip to get their season underway. NCAA season has begun, but the NAIA season has not yet begun. So this is one of those unique matches where the Lions, for the Lions, this match will count. For the Mustangs, it's not going to count. This is considered a scrimmage for the Mustangs. But trust me, both of these teams are going to be playing to win this match. I promise you. Emmanuel is 1-2 so far in the early going of this season. They beat Tusculum University out of Tennessee in 4 games. But then on the West Coast swing began Friday night. They played UC Irvine, number 7 in NCAA Division I, losing in 3. And then on Saturday night, went over to Malibu, California, to take on the Waves of Pepperdine, ranked number 5 in the nation, and losing in 3. So let's go ahead and set the starting lineups. I think did we already do that, Vicente? We did, but we're okay. This is for the Masters Mustangs. Nolan Flexen, Diego Perez All-American from last year, NAIA. Nat Ham is going to be the setter, the freshman, Will Avera, Isaac Seltzer, Brett Seltzer. And we'll determine, and it looks like the libero is going to be Finn Kelly. Talking with head coach Jared Goldberg, and he was saying it's going to be a game-time decision who I'm going to want to be in there. So great competition for the libero role. For the Emmanuel Lions, Daniel Beecham, Jaden Young, he's their leading hitter. We'll talk a lot about him. Noah Langlier, Christian Vega, Harrison Coelho, and Nicholas Eichenberger. Eichenberger will be the setter. Henrik Westhoff injured a couple of nights ago. I believe it was the UC Irvine game, what Coach James Friddle was telling me. Friddle, the 2022 Conference Carolinas Coach of the Year in his 5th season now as the head coach for the Emmanuel Lions. And for the Mustangs, Jared Goldberg in his 3rd season. It's only the 4th year for the program and only the 5th year that men's volleyball has been in the Golden State Athletic Conference. 10 teams are in the GSAC, but when it comes to volleyball, there are 6 teams. And for the Masters, last year they finished the season ranked number 15 in the NAIA, but in the process they beat 4 ranked teams during the course of the season. So we'll talk more about that as this time goes on. Our officials tonight, Todd Frost will be on the ladder on the far side of your screen. Jared Gibson will be the down ref, and David Steinbacher and Stephanie Steinbacher will be the line judges for tonight's match. Hoping to get a little bit more of a crowd in here tonight at the MacArthur Center. The students are all back on campus. It is Martin Luther King Day, so happy King Day to all of you. Students are back on campus. First day of classes are actually tomorrow. So if you are on campus and you're looking for some excitement, come on over to the MacArthur Center and be ready to watch some great volleyball. Some of the things that we're going to be looking out for the Mustangs, Nolan Flexen, we have talked about him here in this preseason quite a bit. Just a freshman, but Nolan, one of the best volleyball players perhaps in the country. The Mustangs on the right side of the court in all blue, while the Lions are in their white with red shorts. They're on the left side to start things off. And that's going to be Jaden Young, who is blocked. And that point will go to the Mustangs. Nolan Flexen over there, 6'10". Will Avera, 6'5" senior middle blocker. And also on the front row, Isaac Seltzer, another 6'5". He's a freshman. That time, that was Flexen, as Nicholas Eichenberger tried the dump quickly on the second hit, and Flexen was able to recognize it, and the Mustangs jump out to a 2-0 lead. Matt Ham serving, a freshman, true freshman out of Fresno. Did his prep work at Clovis West High School. Quick set from Ham. That's Will Avera coming out of Fresno himself. Had 119 kills and hit nearly 400 last season. The Masters quickly out to a 3-0 start here in this first set. Stepping for the far side to Jaden Young, and that one's going to work. Jaden Young, 6'2 senior out of West Palm Beach, Florida. In the first 3 matches of the season, Young with 46 kills. Second is now Eichenberger at 15. So you can see that Young being the primary guy that's getting the sets for the Lions. Eichenberger serving. Quick set, and that's going to be Avera. Avera already with 2 kills in the match, and now Nolan Flexen going back to serve. Ace. Flexen, a freshman, comes from New Mexico. He's the only volleyball player, as I understand it, out of New Mexico currently playing college volleyball. New Mexico doesn't really have volleyball at the prep level, and so when Flexen was wanting to play some volleyball, he actually had to find club teams, and the closest club team he could find was in Arizona. So he's pretty raw, pretty unknown quantity, but those who have seen him say he's pretty darn good. That's a nice hit from Isaac Seltzer, who's able to tool that one off of the block from Christian Vega to go out, and the Mustangs now up 6-2. But just to finish off the initial thought on Nolan Flexen. Flexen was found at a tournament in Florida. That's going to be an ace. He was discovered in a tournament down in Florida, and quickly people started to realize, oh my goodness, this guy's really, really good. Volleyball Magazine ranked him as the number 8 recruit in the class of 2020 in the nation. So he's finally getting his chance to play college volleyball this season. Quick set in the middle, and that one's going to work. Harrison Coelho, 6'1 senior out of Coconut Creek, Florida, getting his 5th kill of the season. And that means Coelho is going to go back to serve now. Looking for his first ace as a team in the first 3 matches. The Lions have 7 aces as a team. That's Flexen from the back row. And that one's going to work. First kill of this match for Nolan Flexen. Isaac Seltzer back to serve. Seltzer with some great resume as well, even though he didn't show it with that serve, but he's an All-American in both the 17 and 18 Open National Championships. He played his club volleyball for Pulse. Now serving, Noah Langelier. Back set for Seltzer. Soft touch finds the empty court. Second for Seltzer. Now Diego Perez, the All-American from last year, GSAC Player of the Week almost a year ago. That one hits the top of the net, but well played. Then a back row set and a hit coming from Jaden Young, and that one's going to go too long. But give credit to Christian Vega as that ball ticked off the net, but he was still able to get a decent pass over to Eichenberger. And there's a rocket from Vega that splits that time between Jaden Young and Carlos Ferrero, the 5'8 freshman libero. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the first half. No? There we go. This is going to start off with the ace that we just saw just a few moments ago. Is that the same ace? Do I start saying who's our producer tonight? He says no, not yet. We'll get things squared away, we promise you. Masters season doesn't officially begin until January 27th when they're going to be taking on the defending NAIA national champions Grandview. That will be a match that will be played in Des Moines. The block is going to go out, so the hit will be good from Christian Vega. He's going to get his first kill of the season for the freshman out of Lake Mary, Florida. And now Vega is going to go back to serve. His Lions trailing by 6 here in the first set. Brett Norcus, all GSAC from 2022. Norcus, the middle blocker, able to collect that kill and be able to hammer that straight down, getting his first kill of the match. Masters with 6 so far in this first set, 3 for the Lions. Going to Young, and we're going to have a net violation, it looks like, by one of the Lions. And so the point will go to the Masters. Brett Norcus to serve. Young blocked. Flexen and Avera there to combine to get that. Mustangs already being tagged with 3 blocks here in this first set. Soft serve that time from Norcus. Going to Young, and that one's going to be long. Lions asking for a tip, and the officials are not going to give it to them. So the Mustangs up by 10 here in this first set, 15-5. Another great serve. So many times we talk about just a hammer of a serve and how fast it's coming through and sinking and diving, and that one just so soft, very difficult to be able to handle. And that one into the net. Mustangs are a perfect 6 for 6. I say that, and I've now perhaps jinxed them on their attacks and kills. Emmanuel 3 for 11, but they've had 6 attack errors, so their hitting percentage is now negative. Here's Flexen. Flexen can jump out of this gym. I'm telling you right now, he starts at 6'10", has a long wingspan. He can reach 12 feet. Hard to defend that. Matt Ham serving. There's a quick set in the middle. That was Harrison Coelho. There is Nolan Flexen again, and oh my goodness, I'm watching Nicholas Eichenberger, and he went up to try to block that, and Flexen was about 2 feet above where Eichenberger was, and Eichenberger just turned back to his coach, shrugging his shoulders, going, there's nothing I can do about that. Eichenberger with the set, going over the far side to Jaden Young, and that's a nice job by Jaden Young, getting a soft touch to get up and over Avera, Seltzer, and Flexen, who put up the block. Now Eichenberger back to serve. 5'11" senior out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. He was the Conference Carolinas Defensive Player of the Year, and he's going to get an ace. First ace of the season for Nicholas Eichenberger. He is normally the starting libero, but he has been put into setter duty after the injury to Henrik Westhoff just a few days ago, and he will not be seeing action today, as that one's going to work for Nolan Flexen. A miss hit for the Lions. So now Flexen will go back to serve. Mustangs up by 11. That's a wide right. So Emmanuel, on Saturday night, they played they went to Malibu and played Pepperdine. They lost in 3 sets, 25-12, 25-12, and 25-16. Jaden Young collecting 9 kills to lead the Lions. That's going to be Seltzer with the left hand, and that one's going to be mishit by Harrison Coelho. So the point goes to the Mustangs. And a timeout called by James Friddle, the head coach for the Lions. But for Emmanuel, as I said, Jaden Young had 9 kills against Pepperdine on Saturday. No one else had more than 2. So he was the main guy for them. Here's what's ironic. The Mustangs played Pepperdine on Friday night in a match that was, as I've mentioned, because of this one being a scrimmage as well, that was a scrimmage for the Mustangs. They lost that one to the number 5 team in the country, Pepperdine, but the scores were a little bit different. It was a 3-set win for the Waves, but the Mustangs lost 25-22, 25-19, and then a third game, 25-23. Very close in that first and third game. So both of these teams in the last 3 days have played the same opponent. That hit by Vega is going to go wide right. So the point goes to the Masters. And they now lead at 21-9 here in the first set. And Will Avera to serve. Well, a difficult set, and that is not going to make it over. Noah Langlier really had to show off his athleticism to be able to get to that ball. So point goes to the Mustangs. That one is just going to get back over, and it's going to be popped over by Ferrero. There's Diego Perez, the All-American from a year ago. Perez averaged nearly 3 kills per set last season as he went on to get that All-American honor. Avera continuing to serve. That one's going to go long. That one's going to hit David Steinbacher, our line judge over there. Harrison Coelho now serving. Back setting to Seltzer. Nice dig by Eichenberger. And that's a great block. It was like a joust at the net between Langlier and Diego Perez. Langlier was trying to get it over with one hand, but Perez had 2 and just stuffed it right over the top. And that takes us to set point here in the first set. Seltzer with a big serve. Back row hit from Jaden Young. Flexen just pops it over. Eichenberger setting in the middle, and a miss hit by Daniel Beecham that goes into the net. Masters will take the first set 25-10 over the Emmanuel Lions. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll have you ready for the second set when we return.
To college to explore the things that drive us, the unique ways in which God has gifted and equipped us. None of us are on exactly the same path. But while there are differences in our goals and dreams, we remain united in our purpose, in our collective desire to glorify Christ and to subject all things to His unchanging word. We want to be prepared not only for a career, but to live wisely in every area of life. This is our calling.
At the Masters University, athletics is more than a source of school pride. It's more than setting records, developing All-Americans, or winning championships. We believe athletics is meant to serve a greater purpose. We train student athletes to compete for the glory of God and to live with an enduring commitment to Christ and Scripture. We call our athletes and coaches to model the Masters way, to prepare and perform as an act of worship. As Mustangs, we work, demanding the best effort of ourselves and our teammates. We overcome, meeting adversity with confidence, perseverance, and wisdom. We worship by taking responsibility, owning our role, and owning it when we fail. We strive to be selfless, serving and sacrificing out of love to make our team and teammates better, even at our own expense. We prize humility, competing and behaving so they see Christ, not us. We value integrity, being honorable in and out of competition and on and off campus. We are passionate, competing all in, all on, and all out. This is how we define winning. This is our goal and the measure of our success. This is athletics at the Masters University.
Back here at Bross Court in the MacArthur Center on the campus of the Masters University from Santa Clarita, California. Mustangs winning that first set 25-10. And they were about as close to perfect as they could get. 12 total attacks, 11 kills in those 12 attacks, no errors. And so they hit 9-17 in that first set. Emmanuel, 18 total attacks, had 4 kills and 10 errors. So their hitting percentage actually a negative .333. And to be fair, Emmanuel dealing already with some injuries. So as we get this second set underway, Harrison Coelho back to serve. Oh, a little joust at the net, and that's going to be won by Matt Ham, the freshman setter. That could very well have been an overpass. In fact, I think it was first touched by one of the Lions. Otherwise, the officials would have called Matt Ham on that for an illegal touch. And Ham using two hands. Oh, nice swing. Flexen from the back row. Oh, excuse me. Hits it to the back row, gets it inside the line. So Flexen now with his 4th kill of the match. Excuse me, his 5th kill. And Ham continuing to serve. Good swing from Langelier. Setting back row to Diego Perez, and he's able to get it down past Daniel Beecham. Beecham, the 6'4" sophomore out of Winter Park, Florida, was there in good position, and he knew he was. It's just that the block came down on his side. So Ham continuing to serve. Back row to Coelho. And that one's going to go wide left. So the point goes to Emmanuel. And back to serve, Noah Langelier. Langelier going to Georgia by way of Mont Belvieu, Texas. A 5'11" freshman. Difficult pass that time. Here's Trent Norkus getting the start. And Norkus has that blocked. And it falls, and it's a point for Emmanuel. I say Norkus getting the start, meaning getting the start here in this second set. Trent, a 6'5" sophomore out of Simi Valley. Really emerged last year as one of the top players for the Mustangs. That's going to be Flexen, is going to doink that one off the noggin. But it's going to be, as it falls in the court So Emmanuel will get the point. I think that went off of Daniel Beecham's head. Flexen, again, that time it went off of Jaden Young's head. Carlos Ferrero tried to play it off of his head, but goes out, so the point will go to the Masters, and Flexen will come in to serve. Coming to the near side for Jaden Young, and that one works. Nice play for the 6'2 senior. Young now with his third kill. He has 3 of the 5 kills for the Lions, and it ties this second set up at 4 apiece. Perez are going to have to pop it over from the back row, giving the Lions an opportunity, and hammering down the second set is Nicholas Eichenberger. That second hit, Eichenberger just said, I got it right here. He's telling his mates over there, yeah, this is how I did it. I backed up, and I was able to get the angle. And so the Lions' first lead in a set. There's an overpass and a mishit. Edvarian Basson with that mishit. He was frustrated with that. Coach Brittle coming over, giving him a high five, laughing with him. Who hasn't done that? Coach Brittle, by the way, great resume himself. 2-time Carolinas Conference, All Carolina Conference. Avera popping it over. Free opportunity again for the Lions. And that's a great play by Young to keep it on the right side of the antenna. And that's Trent Norkus. Again, going off of the block of Jaden Young. Norkus getting his second kill of the match. And Avera back to serve as the Mustangs retake the lead 6-5 here in the second set. And it's a long serve, so we're tied at 6. Watching Nicholas Eichenberger, he's looking up at the ceiling. It's a low ceiling here, so the ball can come into play. If the ball hits the ceiling, it's still alive. And that one goes very long. But that's something to keep in mind. There are beams that go across the ceiling, and if the ball hits the beam, sometimes it can ricochet in an absolute disastrous direction, or good direction, depending on which side you're rooting for. So the ceiling can come into play as Norkus puts it into the net. Another service error here in this second set for the Masters. They're now showing 7 service errors in the match. Emmanuel with just 1. Perez, that one's picked up. Nice play by Ferrero to keep that alive. And then that one goes off the block. Give the credit to Noah Langelier. Second of the match for Noah Langelier. Emmanuel 3 of 11 here in hitting in this second set, so much improved over their 4 of 18 with 10 errors in that first set. But both teams now starting to get some service errors. Perez, one of the better servers in the country. That ball gets popped over. Here's Flexen. He's going to look for an empty spot, and he finds it. So the 7th of the night for Nolan Flexen. Flexen against Pepperdine on Friday had 14 kills. And against Hawaii last month, as that one's going to fall for the Lions, a match that the Mustangs won in 5 sets, defeating the 2-time defending NCAA Division I champions, Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. But Flexen had 27 kills in that exhibition. Here's Flexen here. And a difficult pass. No one was there to get in to set it. Edvarian Basson tried to get in. just too difficult to get there. So the Masters up 10-9 here in the second. Brett Norkus back to serve. Oh, a nice hit that time from Harrison Coelho. Third of the match for Coelho. He and Jaden Young have the team high. Will Avera, great play by Carlos Ferrero. Langlier's swing is going to be blocked. Will Avera is there. Matt Ham was there, but I believe that was all Will Avera. Take a look at that one again. You'll see Avera from his middle blocker spot and Ham, and that's a perfect block. Well done. Back row for Jaden Young, but picked up by the Mustangs. Now Norkus. That's an overpass. Flexen says, thank you very much. I'll take it. And when he finishes that hit, he turns around to his teammates and says, let's go. Very trying to fire up his team. Feels like that the Mustangs, of course, they won the first set 25-10, were dominant, and this one getting close. So Flexen trying to exert his team on. And there's another block with Will Avera there with Trent Norkus to combine on that one. Watch it again. Avera again in the middle. Norkus on the near side. That wall goes up, and it's a perfectly impenetrable wall. And the block is worked. Matt Ham continuing to serve as the Mustangs starting to surge here in this second set. Flexen's hit is on the line and good. 10th kill for Flexen. Kind of watching Nolan's body language right now. It's like he's saying, I'm tired of this. Let's go. We got to get going here. Oh, what a play by Daniel Beecham. Knowing the block was coming up, does a soft little cut shot down the net to be able to find empty court on the far side. That was an outstanding play. Good court awareness by that sophomore, 6'4", out of Winter Park, Florida. Quick set to Avera in the middle, but picked up by Langlier. Now Young, and another block again, this time Flexen and Avera. Avera again in the middle, Flexen on the side, on the near side. See a great dig there, the nice set, but then the block perfectly positioned and having it go straight down. Flexen serving. Good serve. Langlier, nice return. Or serve receive, excuse me. Going for Young. Out. Wide left. Mustangs now up by 5. And it's interesting watching head coach James Friddle for Emmanuel having a quick little conversation with Jared Gibson, our down ref. It's almost as if Gibson was saying, do you want to take a timeout now? And Friddle was, yeah, I really do. So next up for Emmanuel on this West Coast trip, they're going to be down in San Diego tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and they're going to be facing UC San Diego. That'll be a 7 o'clock start Pacific time, 10 o'clock out east in Franklin Springs, Georgia. Mustangs will get a day off tomorrow, and then Wednesday they're going to go down for another scrimmage for them, but a counting game for Cal State Northridge, a Division I opponent out of the Big West Conference. Big West, arguably the best conference for men's volleyball. The two teams that were in the NCAA Division I championship match, both coming from the Big West Conference, as that's an ace for Nolan Flexen as he hit the tape and the ball just dove down on the other side. But it was Hawaii avenging some losses earlier in the season to Long Beach State, and it was Hawaii that came away with that championship last spring. That one goes into the net. Another service error for the Mustangs. That'll be their 8th here in this match. And Daniel Beecham back to serve for the Lions. That one's out. Third service error for the Lions in the match. Braden Van Groningen is going to check into the match. Also, Kason Clore will check in. Clore will go into the front row. 6'2 junior. Van Groningen, a 6'4 sophomore, had 116 kills, hit .255 last season for the Mustangs. Kason Clore new to the team this year, and that one saved by Eichenberger, and I think they're going to call a double hit. Yeah, I believe that was Jason Young, if I'm not mistaken, and he hit that ball above his head, and it came up spinning, and anytime that happens, you see it mostly on the second hit, which is the set, but that time it was the third set trying to get it over. It came up spinning, so they're going to call a double hit on that. Back set to Coelho. Norcus. Oh, I did not mention that Bryce Jones, the 6'2 sophomore, is into the match, now setting for the Mustangs. So head coach Jared Goldberg going to his bench. Avera continuing to serve. Young uses the left hand to guide the ball down to the floor for a point for the Lions. Now Nicholas Eichenberger back to serve. His Lions down by 7 in this second set. They lost the first set 25-10. Tough pass is overpass. Saved by Ethan Egger, now in as the libero, and that one's going to fall. Now Trent Norcus back to serve. Blocked. Bryce Jones is there with Brent Norcus. Norcus, the middle blocker. Jones on the near side, and it looks like Jones, the way he's celebrating, is the one that's going to get that credit for that one. It's probably going to be an assisted block because both of those players were going up, but that was Jones who was able to get a hold of that one. Bryce Jones last year played his college volleyball at Quincy University. Averaged nearly 8 assists per set while he was at Quincy. His career high 44 assists. That was against Missouri Valley. And in the match earlier this season that the Mustangs played against UC Irvine, Jones was able to get 17 assists to lead Masters in that scrimmage. By the way, a reminder, the Stanford Cardinal will be here in Bross Court on Saturday, February 4th, to play the Masters, and that's going to be a counting match for both as Trent Norcus gets the ace. Mustangs with 6 aces in the match. The Lions have 1. And that one goes out. Trying to find the line on the far side. This match was tied at 12, if you'll recall. Now it's a 23-14 Mustang lead. Setting for Clore, but he's trying to find the empty court, and that's going to be Brett Norcus with the block. The back row hit from Jaden Young, but it's Norcus that gets the block from the middle. We'll see the set and watch. Here's Young coming from the back, and there's the all-GSAC from a year ago, Brett Norcus. Brings the Mustangs to set point here in the second set. And will be delayed a little bit as Case and Clora's serve goes long. That might be a source of frustration for Jared Goldberg, the head coach for the Masters. That is the 10th service error in just 2 sets. Back setting to Norkus. Picked up. Ball did hit the... And Van Groningen not able to get it to pop over. That ball was tricky. It came off of the block and went right to Van Groningen, kind of rolled up his chest. He was still able to get it over. And an ace. Second ace of the match. First one for Edvarian Basson. First of the season for him. And that's long, and that will be the set. 25-17. The Masters now up 2-0. We'll step aside. Third set. Will it be the decisive one? We'll find out when we come back.
The entire modern world has recognized and attempted to harness the power of media.
We want to talk about this topic because there's a lot of misinformation out there.
How do we function in a society when we can't trust the supposed facts that we're hearing and reading about every day?
Well, how do we think through that as a Christian?
How do Christians best interpret culture theologically and, most importantly, biblically?
You already know the answer. The Bible is the foundation for everything.
This is mission critical. This is about the gospel. This is about telling people the truth and not misleading them.
We have a responsibility to be a witness to the truth.
We're always evaluating the theological ramifications of what we're consuming.
We're not swayed by the world. Rather, we need to interpret the world by Scripture.
The Bible comes first, Christ's honor comes first, and then everything else follows.
In Genesis 1, God established a mandate: subdue the earth and have dominion over it. At the Masters University, we see engineering as a clear fulfillment of that command. Our students learn to design, apply, and advance technology for the good of their fellow man and the glory of the Creator. We don't just develop engineers. We equip leaders to engage world-changing technology through the lens of unchanging truth. After graduation, our mechanical engineers will design car engines, satellites, and robots, machines that increase productivity and raise standards of living. Our electrical engineers will develop technology that connects us, from the cell phones in our hands to the power grids in our communities. And our computer engineers will make faster, more efficient hardware for both the workplace and home. So come to the Masters University, study engineering, and be equipped to fulfill the Creator's mandate: subdue the earth and have dominion over it.
Come to college to explore the things that drive us, the unique ways in which God has gifted and equipped us. None of us are on exactly the same path. But while there are differences in our goals and dreams, we remain united in our purpose, in our collective desire to glorify Christ and to subject all things to His unchanging word. We want to be prepared not only for a career, but to live wisely in every area of life. This is our calling.
Third and final set. Will it be the final set? Not sure. Mustangs with a 2-0 lead after getting the first set 25-10, the second set 25-17. Nolan Flexen leading the Mustangs with 10 kills. By the way, Matt Ham has 15 assists in this match so far, the first 2 sets. Jaden Young leading Emmanuel with 4 kills. Nicholas Eichenberger, the setter for the Lions tonight, he's got 11 assists as well. Second set much better than the first for the hitting purposes for the Lions. As this third set now underway, Jaden Young from the back row asking for a tip, and they're going to get it. Point goes to Emmanuel. Noah Langlier back to serve. Bryce Jones with the set. Van Groningen with the hit. And that one's going to go long. So the Mustangs continuing with the lineup that they had at the end of the second set. Langlier serving. His Lions up 2-0. First time they've been up 2-0 tonight. Now an opportunity for Emmanuel. Young, that block goes out. So another point for the Lions. Jones, a quick set to Aver in the middle. That ball hits the net, but still it's able to find room to drop. So the first point of this third set for the Mustangs as Braden Van Groningen, 6'4" sophomore, back to serve. Young off the block of Trent Norcus. Point for Emmanuel. And Emmanuel's starting to feel it right now in this third set. And back to serve, Daniel Beecham. And that ball by Kason Clore goes into the net, so another point for the Lions. Jaden Young now up to 7 kills, but he does have 9 errors, so his hitting percentage is negative. Clore blocked. 3 different Lions were there for the block. That front row, Young, Basson, and Eichenberger. Well, had some little glitch there, but back to the live action. Quick set to Avera, and that seems to be the piece that's working. That's the second time here in this third set that Jones has been able to get that quick set to the middle. Will Avera. And now Avera going back to serve. Mustangs down by 4 in this third set. Good serve. And looking for the back corner. That time was Coelho. Clore. Nice play by Coelho with the one hand to get it over. And then Young takes care of the kill. But that was a great job by Harrison Coelho. Just stuck the right hand out. Even though it was an overpass and it went back on the other side, it still kept his Lions alive. And it allowed Young to be able to finish it off next time that the ball was on the Lions side. Eichenberger serving. Back set to Norcus. Blocked. Nice job by Ethan Egger, the libero for the Mustangs. And that's Clore with the kill. That started with Egger. Nice play defensively. And then the good hit from Norcus to find that far corner to get the kill. His second. And then he follows that up by putting the ball into the net. Jaden Young serving now for the Lions. Clore blocked. Eichenberger setting to Coelho, and that's going to be Clore and Norcus. They're going to get both credit for that, but Clore looks like he's the guy. He'll be on the near side when he goes up for the block with Norcus in the middle, and it just goes straight down. Nice job. Now Clore back to serve. Far side to Langlier, and then popped over by Coelho. That's Ethan Egger. Full on Superman to enable Brett Norcus to be able to hammer it down on the other side. That play was set up by Ethan Egger because he dove for that ball to be able to pop it up for Norcus. Floor serving, Masters trailing by 3. Oh, and that's a nice hit by Basson going off of Norcus, Trent Norcus. So the point goes to the Lions. And now Edvarian Basson back to serve. Van Groningen, right at Young. Coelho blocked straight down by Van Groningen. Boy, if you are a fan of the block, you're probably loving this right now. It was a good set, good swing, but the block even better by Van Groningen. And now Brett Norcus serving. And that set from Eichenberger, a miscommunication. He's talking with Daniel Beecham. Eichenberger, I think, was expecting Beecham to be one spot, and Beecham went another way. Masters within 2 now. And it's back to a 3-point lead for Emmanuel. 10-7. Now Harrison Coelho to serve. Van Groningen, big swing, goes off of the block, out of bounds, point Masters. Eichenberger was there, Beecham. But it was a big swing from Van Groningen. Now Bryce Jones back to serve. Out. Noah Langlier to serve. Quick set in the middle again. That's the third time that's worked in his third set for Will Avera. Off of the set from Jones. Always starts with a good pass. Ethan Egger giving the opportunity, and then the quick set again in the middle. And Van Groningen serving. Oh, there's an opportunity. Egger with the dig, the set from Bryce Jones, and Will Avera again with that quick set in the middle. Fourth time that has worked here in this third set, and Masters have climbed to within 1. Van Groningen continuing to serve. Good serve. Good dig, though, by Ferrero. Good receive. And a better block. Oh, I think they're going to say that Avera went across, and even Avera just jumped up and went over to Jaden Young, and I think it was Noah Langlier that were on the receiving end after he went across over the top of that. But it's a point Masters. Tied at 11. And it's back to a 1-point lead for Emmanuel after another service error. 15 service errors in just 2+ sets for the Masters. By comparison, Emmanuel with 4 service errors. Oh, and that is an ace. Daniel Beecham getting that ace. First one for him tonight. Quick set again to Avera. I'm counting it. I'm running out of fingers on one hand. That's the 5th one for Will Avera. Watch it again. This was fantastic. This has been working throughout this set. Here's Jones with the set. It's already been communicated. You see Avera already making that jump, that run up. Now Avera with the serve. And it goes long. 2-point lead for the Lions, and Nicholas Eichenberger back to serve. Back setting to Norcus. Trent, that's out. Point, Emmanuel. Last season, The Lions finished the season winning 3 of their final 4. They lost their very last match of the season, but they won 3 of their final 4, 5 of their final 7. Had some momentum going into the Conference Carolinas tournament, where they got to the semifinals. And that's a nice hit from Coelho. 4th of the night for Harrison Coelho. And it is a 4-point lead for the Lions in this 3rd set, hoping to keep this match alive. Eichenberger continuing to serve. Cloer. Nice hit for Kaysen Cloer. 2nd of the night for Kaysen Cloer, and Trent Norkus back to serve. Another service error. Jaden Young back to serve. Jones, the back set to Norkus, coming from the back row. Picked up by Coelho, and Coelho then with the swing that time. That one's going to go long. They're asking for a touch, but I don't think that's going to be granted. So the point will go to the Masters, and Kaysen Cloer back to serve. Masters trailing by a field goal, 17-14. Back row to Jaden Young, kept alive by Egger. And now Van Groningen popping it over. Now an opportunity to set something up. Difficult set that time for Langler. Now Van Groningen off of the block and then reaching over Bryce Jones. It was a good idea for Bryce Jones because that ball looked like it might have been coming down in. So at least trying to keep it alive and pop it up, but difficult to handle. Point to the Lions, back up to a 4-point lead. And that one's going to go long. Advarian Basson, a 6'3 freshman out of South Africa. That one's a little bit too strong. Now Brett Norkus back to serve. Oh, and that's another ace for Brett Norkus. The second ace for him in this match. And a timeout called by the Lions. As they lead by 2, they have led throughout this entire 3rd set. Leading by as much as 4, and now that lead down to 2. Well, we talked about how Emmanuel last year got to the Conference Carolinas tournament, beating Erskine College in the quarterfinals in 5 sets before losing to North Greenville in the semis. The Masters last year made it to the GSAC championship in their tournament for the first time in program history, but they lost to then number 3 Ottawa of Arizona in 3 sets. Masters were able to defeat number 2 Vanguard in a 5-set thriller in the semifinals to get to that championship match. Last year, Mustangs really emerged as one of the top teams in the NAIA. They started off the season unranked, but then they knocked off several then ranked teams. Benedictine Mesa was number 6. Georgetown was number 10. UC Merced, the Bobcats out of UC Merced were number 15. The Mustangs took care of those 3 teams during the pre-conference schedule, and that put Masters on the map. Of course, as I mentioned, they knocked off number 2 Vanguard in the semis. Reached as high as number 7 on the season last year before finishing 15. Here's Trent Norkus. Now Langler out. And the Lions absolutely adamant there was a touch. Nicholas Eichenberger now going over to talk with Todd Frost, the upper ref, saying, oh, yes, it was a touch. And Todd Frost going, oh, no, it wasn't. So the point goes to the Masters. They're down by 2. Quick set. That one's long. That hit from Beecham is a 1-point difference. Masters, if you're joining us late, They won the first set 25-10. Got the second one 25-17. And now, here in the third set, the Lions have led throughout. Masters now within one is Bryce Jones serving. Good serve. Beecham back up to a 2-point Lions lead. Second kill for Beecham. Lions being led by Jaden Young. He's got 8. Nolan Flexen leading the Masters. He's got 10, but he hasn't played since midway through the second set. Will Avera with 7. A quick set. Christian Vega, who hasn't played since the first set, got a foot on that, and that would have counted. The point goes to the Masters. Now Braden Van Groningen. Masters down by 1. Ace for Van Groningen. Last year, Van Groningen had 12 aces on the year. And this one ties this one at 20. Masters has not led in this third set, and they will not lead at this moment. There's another good hit for Daniel Beecham. Beecham comes in with 7 kills. That is 5th on the team here in the early going. The first 3 matches. This is the 4th match of the season for Emmanuel, a Division II team out of Georgia, for those who are not familiar. That's going to be over, and it's going to fall in. Oh, my goodness. Eichenberger is looking at his coach going, oh, my gosh, that was out. But I'll be honest with you, it was right in front of where I am and where Vicente is, our producer, and we're like going, no, that was in. Definitely in. Tied at 21, Avera serving. In, as that's going to be Basson getting that kill. Second of the night for Ed Varian. Basson. So the Mustangs have been able to tie it a couple of times in this third set, and each time the Lions retake the lead. Now Eichenberger serving. Back setting to Norkus. Soft touch. Covered. Now Coelho. Quick set to Brett Norkus in the middle, but picked up. Now Eichenberger saying, I've got it. Pop it over. Opportunity for a Mustang set, and it's Clore with the kill. And we're tied at 22 again. And now Jared Goldberg asking for a sub. Ezra Moore. You hear the fans cheering for Ezra Moore, the 6'1 senior. When the program began just 4 years ago, it was Ezra Moore that was the setter. And as this program has grown, Ezra is very popular. That one is out, and the Masters. Well, wait a minute. No, excuse me. It is not. It did get hit out, but it was touched by the Mustangs. So it is a point for Emmanuel. And Ezra Moore came in to serve. He comes back out. That's going to be a point for Masters as Bryce Jones uses a little backhand backflip. So we're tied at 23. Which one of these teams can get 2 consecutive points to pull away and win it? Here in the third set, Case and Clore serving. Good serve. Van Groningen and the Mustangs for the first time in this third set take the lead, and it's match point. 24-23. Timeout, Emmanuel, as the Mustangs have reasserted themselves here late in this third set. Masters coached by Jared Goldberg in his third season, 16 wins against 18 losses. First year he took over the program at the beginning of the 2021 season, came in late, only was able to get a couple of wins. Of course, that was fresh off of COVID. Went 2-8 that season. Last year, turning the program around. bringing in Diego Perez from Pepperdine. Perez going on to become the first Mustang ever named an All-American in men's volleyball, and Jared Goldberg has continued to work the recruiting trail, has brought in several key players. And so the Mustangs preseason ranked 15th. That might be too high. Jaden Young out. The Lions asking for a tip. They're not going to get it. And that's going to be the match. The Masters get the final 2 points of the match, the only time they had a lead in this third set, and they'll win it in 3 sets, 25-10, 25-17, and 25-23. Well, that'll do it for us here. Hope you had a good time. For all of us associated with the Masters University Athletics, I'm Dave Caldwell. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. We will see you again next time.